Welcome to New Thought Deep Dive. Each week, we dive into a refresher on New Thought spiritual ideas that leave you thinking. Everything about this podcast, from the intro to the script and the presenters, is generated by AI. For more information, please visit newthoughtnexus.net.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We are doing something a little different today.
We are.
Usually we take a big topic and sort of skirt around the edges, pick up the most interesting facts. But today, we're starting a specific journey.
A very specific one.
We've got this stack of notes here for a class called The Driver's Seat. And honestly, looking at this stuff, it feels a bit like finding an instruction manual for a machine you've been, operating blindly for 30 years.
That is exactly the right metaphor, and it's a pleasure to be here.
You too.
And to extend that, most of us aren't really operating the machine. We're just sitting in it while it sort of careens down the highway, hoping we don't hit a guardrail.
Right. We feel like passengers. And that is the core feeling this week one material seems to address, that sense that life is just something happening to us.
It happens to you, yeah.
We get lucky, we get unlucky, we get sick, we get a bonus. It all feels so random. But the premise of this driver's seat course is, well, it's pretty aggressive. It claims we've been driving the whole time, just, usually with our eyes closed.
It's a confronting idea, for sure. It takes away the luxury of blaming bad luck.
Totally.
But the trade-off is that it gives you back the control. The theme for this first week is the engine of creation, and we're going to look at the mechanics of how your life is actually generated.
Okay, so let's look at the syllabus here. The first concept we have to tackle is metaphysics. Now, I have to be the skeptic for a second.
Please.
When I hear metaphysics, my mind goes to crystals, incense, and people, kind of avoiding reality.
Right.
But the source material defines it very, very differently.
It does. And for the students listening who might be new to this, we really need to strip away the woo-woo associations. Let's just look at the word itself.
Yep.
Physics is the study of the physical world, gravity, mass, velocity, the hardware. Stuff you can, kick.
The hardware. Got it.
Meta just means beyond or after. So metaphysics is the study of what lies beyond the physical. It's the study of the cause, whereas physics is the study of the effect.
Oh, interesting.
Think of it like a computer. Physics is the screen, the keyboard, the pixels you see. Metaphysics is the software code running in the background.
So if I have a glitch on my screen, let's say recurring problem in my life, physics would be me trying to scrub the monitor to get it off.
Exactly.
And metaphysics would be rewriting the code that's generating the glitch in the first place.
Precisely. And that leads us to the second key term in our stack here, demonstration. Now, in normal English, a demonstration is like a protest or a sales pitch. But in this context, what are we talking about?
The notes say demonstration is proof.
It's the physical result of a metaphysical law. I mean, if you bake a cake, the recipe is the invisible law, the chemistry.
Right.
The cake itself, the thing you can eat, that's the demonstration. It proves that the law works.
So if I apply these mental principles we're about to discuss, say I change my internal code about money, and then I get a raise or a new client, that check in the mail is the demonstration.
Correct. It's the receipt. It's the evidence that you successfully operated the engine.
Okay, I'm with you on the cause and effect. But here is where the material gets difficult.
Yeah.
It's the foundational concept of this entire engine, and it just contradicts how most of us were raised. It talks about one power versus two powers.
This is the biggest hurdle for almost everyone.
Yeah, because look at the world. We are conditioned to believe in two powers, good and evil, God and devil, health and sickness. It feels like a boxing match, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're just spectators hoping the good side wins this round.
That's what the material calls the old way of thinking. And it creates a life of constant anxiety because you feel like you're on a battlefield. You're constantly defending yourself against some opposing force.
Right.
But the engine of creation rests on a single non-negotiable premise. There's only one power.
The text calls it spirit, or the self-existent cause.
Yes. And it describes this power as omnipresent, meaning it's everywhere and entirely good.
Okay, stop right there, because this is where the tires screech for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people listening.
I get it.
If there is only one power, and it's 100% good, and it is everywhere, explain the news, explain war, explain why good people get cancer. If there's no evil power creating those things, where do they come from? You can't just say it's all good when clearly it isn't.
And we shouldn't. That would just be spiritual bypassing or, delusion. The philosophy doesn't deny that bad things happen. It denies that they have a source.
Unpack that. How can something exist without a source?
Let's use an analogy that I think really helps settle this. Imagine you walk into a room and it's pitch black. You can't see your hand in front of your face. You stumble, you stub your toe. The pain is real. The darkness is definitely affecting you.
Sure.
But is darkness a thing? Can you get a bucket and shovel the darkness out the window? Can you bring in a darkness generator to make it darker?
No. Darkness isn't a substance. It's just what happens when there's no light.
Exactly. Darkness is the absence of something. It has no power of its own. It creates real problems. I mean, you stubbed your toe, but you cannot fight darkness. You can't attack it. You can only do one thing.
Introduce light.
You flip the switch.
And when the light comes on, where does the darkness go?
It doesn't go anywhere. It just ceases to be because it was never a thing in the first place.
So applying this to the engine, the argument is that sickness isn't a thing created by some god of sickness. It's the absence of health consciousness.
Correct. Poverty is the absence of abundance consciousness. Fear is the absence of love. These things are shadows. They are very, very real in our experience, but they are not generated by an evil factory somewhere in the universe.
That actually changes the strategy completely. If I believe in two powers, I need armor and weapons to go fight the devil. If I believe in one power, I just need to find the light switch.
Exactly. It removes the friction. You stop warring against the problem and you start aligning with the solution. That is the first step of taking the driver's seat. You realize you aren't fighting a war, you're just correcting a lack of alignment.
Okay, so we have this one power. But how does it actually work? The notes break this down into a mechanism. They talk about spirit and law.
This is the dashboard of the car. You have to understand the difference between these two.
Okay, let's define them. Spirit is described as the thinker.
Spirit is the volitional part. It's the part that chooses. In you, this is your conscious mind. It's the part of you that says, I want to be a doctor, or I want to heal this relationship. It initiates. It has a will.
Okay, so spirit is the captain. What is the law?
The law is the crew. Or to stick to our mechanical theme, the law is the engine itself. It is the servant. It is impersonal, it's mathematical, and it is totally obedient.
The text makes a really big deal about this impersonal nature.
It has to, because the law has no opinion. It doesn't judge. It simply says yes to whatever spirit impresses upon it.
This brings us to the analogy of the gardener and the soil. I think we need to spend some time here because for me, this was the moment where the material went from interesting to kind of scary.
It is the crucial analogy for week one. So imagine your conscious mind is the gardener. You have a bag of seeds. Those seeds are your thoughts, your beliefs, your habitual concepts.
And the law is the soil.
Yes. Now consider the nature of soil. It is a miraculous substance. It contains all the nutrients and energy needed to turn a tiny speck into a massive plant. But does the soil care what you plant?
Yeah.
If you plant a kernel of corn, the soil says, okay, here's the energy to grow corn. If you plant a seed of nightshade, a deadly poison, does the soil stop you? Does it say, hey, wait a minute, I like you, I'm not going to grow this poison because it'll hurt you?
No, it grows the poison with the exact same enthusiasm as the corn.
The exact same creative power. The soil doesn't judge the seed, it just executes the blueprint.
See, that's the terrifying part. Because if we look at our lives, the weeds, the thorns, the poisonous situations, the implication is that the soil didn't attack us. It means we planted something.
And that is the hardest pill to swallow. We want to believe the weeds just showed up, but the law is exact. If you have been walking around with a subconscious belief that says, I am unworthy, or money is hard to get, you've been dropping those seeds into the soil every single day.
And the law, being obedient, just said, yes, money is hard to get. Let me arrange your life to prove that to you.
It's not punishment. It's just mechanics, like a 3D printer printing exactly what you sent to it.
This really reframes what it means to be in the driver's seat. It's not about wrestling the steering wheel. It's about watching the road. It's about vetting the seeds.
You stop begging the soil to change. You stop yelling at the harvest. You start changing the seed.
Let's trace how this flow actually happens. The notes detail this trinity of creation: mind, idea, expression. The text uses a fountain metaphor, which I found really helpful to visualize the sequence.
It's a beautiful image. Imagine a great fountain in a city park.
Okay, picturing it.
Deep underground, you have the reservoir. The water there is formless. It's just pure potential under pressure. That is spirit. That represents the one power ready to go.
And then it gets pumped up the pipe.
And at the top of the pipe, there is a nozzle. That nozzle is your thought. It's your specific idea.
Yeah.
The nozzle determines the shape of the water. Is it a fine mist? Is it a chaotic splash? Is it a high, elegant arc? The water doesn't decide that. The nozzle decides.
And then the water lands in the pool.
The pool is the manifest world. It's your physical life, your body, your bank account, your home. Now, here is where most of us get stuck. We look at the pool and we say, I don't like this shape. The water is falling in a square, and I want a circle.
So we jump in the pool.
We jump in the pool and start splashing around. We try to force the water to change shape after it has fallen. We work harder. We manipulate people. We stress out. We try to fix the effect.
But you can't change the shape of the water once it's in the basin.
It's impossible. If you want the pattern in the pool to change, where do you have to go?
You have to go back to the nozzle.
You have to change the thought. If you adjust the nozzle, the spray changes instantly and the pool changes automatically. You don't even have to touch the pool.
That connects back to the one power concept then. The water in the reservoir, the water in the spray, and the water in the pool. It's all the same water.
One continuous flow. Your life is not separate from spirit. It is spirit, just taking the shape of your mental nozzle.
But this brings up a logistical question for me. If I am the nozzle, do I have to manufacture the water? Or, to put it more plainly, if I want health, do I have to invent what health is? Do I have to figure out how to knit cells together? Because that feels like way too much pressure.
That's a very common fear. I'm not smart enough to create abundance. The good news is you don't have to. The source material introduces the concept of divine ideas.
What are those? Like prototypes?
Essentially, yes. Think of them as the master blueprints stored in that underground reservoir. In the infinite mind, there is already a perfect concept of health. There's a perfect concept of peace. There is a perfect concept of wealth.
So I don't need to invent the internet. I just need to connect to the Wi-Fi.
That's a great analogy. You don't create the principle of mathematics, you just use it. You align your nozzle with the divine idea of health and let that perfect pattern flow through you.
Okay, I'm going to challenge this again. Because it sounds lovely and poetic, but let's look at reality. If there is a perfect prototype of health in the divine mind, and I'm connected to it, and the power is good, why am I sick? Why isn't everyone walking around as a glowing orb of perfection?
Because the window is dirty.
Okay, explain that.
This is the stained glass window analogy. For me, this is the most important visual in week 1 because it explains human suffering in a world of one good power.
Walk us through it.
Imagine the sun. It represents spirit. It is pure, white, blindingly perfect light. It is always shining. It never flickers. It is 100% good.
Got it. The sun is perfect.
Now, that light has to pass through a window to hit the floor of your house. That window is your consciousness. It's your mind.
And my window is not clear plate glass.
Your window is a mosaic. It has some beautiful red and blue glass. Those represent your loves, your talents, your joys. But it also has panes that are caked with mud. It has cracks that have been taped over with duct tape. It has spots that are completely blacked out with paint.
Those would be my fears, my traumas, the belief that people are mean or I always fail.
Exactly. So the perfect sun hits the muddy window, what appears on the floor.
A distorted, shadowy, muddy pattern.
Now look at the floor. That is your life. If you see a muddy, dark spot on the floor, what do? Do you yell at the sun, hey, shine better?
No, the sun is doing its job. It's shining perfectly.
Do you get down on your knees and scrub the floor?
No, because it's just a reflection. You can't scrub a shadow.
You have to clean the window. You have to get a ladder and scrape off the mud of I am unworthy. You have to fix the crack of there isn't enough to go around.
And as you clean the glass,
the perfect pattern that was always there can finally come through. You don't create the light. You just remove the obstruction.
That makes the work feel, I don't know, more manageable, but also relentless. It implies that every problem in my life is just a smudge on my window.
It puts the responsibility squarely in your lap. We are, as the text says, the inlet and the outlet. We are the distribution centers.
The text calls us generators.
Yes. Think about a hydroelectric dam. The generator doesn't create the water. The water falls from the lake. That's gravity. That's nature. The generator just captures that flow and transmutes it into electricity. We transmute the raw energy of life into the specific power of our circumstances.
So if the lights go out in my life, it's not because the water stopped falling. It's because my generator is clogged.
The flow never stops. The power is always pressing against us, looking for an outlet. We determine the voltage and the direction.
Okay. We've covered the engine, spirit and law, the fuel, one power, the nozzle, thought, and the window, consciousness. It sounds logical. It sounds almost mechanical, but I feel like there's a catch. If it's this simple, just clean the window. Why isn't everyone winning? Why is it so hard?
There's always a catch. The notes call it the dirty little secret of metaphysics.
Which is?
Knowing the schematic doesn't drive the car, you actually have to get in and steer. And the steering wheel is heavy.
It requires effort.
It requires what they call right thinking. And I want to be very specific here for the students. This isn't just happy thoughts. This isn't pasting a smile on your face when your life is falling apart.
Right. We're not talking about toxic positivity or ignoring reality.
Right thinking is the relentless mental discipline of aligning with the principle, regardless of what the demonstration looks like at the moment. It's standing in front of that muddy window, seeing the mud on the floor, and knowing, absolutely knowing, that the sun is still shining behind it.
That sounds incredibly difficult. To stand in the middle of a financial crisis, look at a bank account that says zero, and still maintain the internal conviction of abundance, that feels delusional.
It feels delusional to the senses. But the driver knows that the reflection on the floor is old news. And this brings us to the final critical concept for week 1, time.
Because we want instant coffee. We want the instant manifest.
The thought is instant. The impression on the soil, the law, is instant. But we live in the world of solids. The text speaks of the resistance of matter.
The time lag.
Exactly. Think about the gardener again. You plant a seed today, you water it. Do you see a sprout tomorrow?
No.
And if you dig it up the next day to see if it's working, you kill the seed. You have to trust the soil. You have to know that the law is working underground, chemically rearranging the elements, even when you can't see it yet.
That is where most people quit.
Yeah.
They change their thinking for 3 days, the check doesn't arrive, and they say, this stuff is nonsense, and they go back to planting weeds.
They abandon the crop just before it breaks the surface. Faith, in this context, isn't religious. It's scientific confidence. It's knowing that if you planted corn, you will get corn, even if it takes a season.
It's trusting that the car will turn when you turn the wheel, even if there's a split-second delay in the steering column.
Precisely. If you don't take the wheel, you are just reacting to the weeds you planted 10 years ago. You are living in the past. Taking the driver's seat means driving by vision, not by sight.
I'd rather drive.
Yeah.
Even if I'm still learning how to shift gears.
That's the only way to get anywhere new.
So let's bring this deep dive into week 1 for a landing. We are the driver. Our conscious mind is the gardener. The law is the soil, that terrifyingly obedient, non-judgmental soil. And our thoughts are the seeds.
And the fuel is that infinite spirit always pressing in, just waiting for an outlet.
It really is a complete shift in perspective. We aren't begging the universe for a ride. We realize we own the car.
If I could leave the listener with one final thought, something to really chew on this week as they start this class.
Right.
We talked about how the law of mind action, that soil says yes to everything. It has no judgment, it has no sense of humor. It is building your house every minute of every day based on your blueprints.
Okay.
So look around your life right now. Look at your relationships, your health, your stress levels. If your life is a restaurant and the waiter just brought you exactly what you ordered, what have you been ordering?
Oof, that is confronting.
It is. But the good news is the waiter is still standing there.
And are you brave enough to look at the menu and change the order right now in this moment?
What did I order? That is the question to sit with. Thank you so much for breaking this down.
My pleasure.
And to you listening, thanks for hopping in the passenger seat, or rather the driver's seat, with us. Next time, we're going to look at the controls. We're going to talk about affirmations and how to use your words to direct this power. But for this week, watch your seeds. Drive safe. We'll see you in the next deep dive.